Wabash.
Just a while ago.
Good. Wabash Carnegie Public Library Oral History Program interviewing John Nixon at his office at the Peru Tribune, Peru, Indiana, Wednesday, June 5th, 1974. First of all, I'm going to ask you where and when you were born, John.
Well, I was born October 1928. Must have been in Wabash.
In Wabash. And your father was Don Nixon.
Right.
Yeah. Where did you grow up? In which house?
180 North Miami Street, where my brother Joe lives now.
Yeah. And did your grandmother Hubbard live with you at that time also?
Yeah.
And what are your early remembrances and recollections of at home with mother and grandmother?
Well, what respect?
I mean, just what was the lifestyle like in the...
Oh, Mother was always working because Dad had died. I was around 6, I guess, when that happened, and she elected to take over the business and go as opposed to selling. She didn't know a damn thing about it, and I've always admired that. So at any rate, she worked very hard. She was away very much. I can remember that.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I haven't thought of that until somebody asked the question.
Yeah. And Grandma was the one that really, we would say, raised you during the day. And
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't gone for long periods of time, but maybe 2 or 3 days and then back.
Yeah.
And then she'd be at the office during the day and wouldn't get back till 6:30, 7 o'clock at night.
You went to school there at Miami School then?
Yeah, Miami.
Yeah. And then after Miami School, where did you go?
Well, I went through junior high and then went to a prep school down in North Carolina up until my senior year, and then I rebelled for the first time in my life, said I'm not going back.
Yeah.
I want to be with my friends for my senior year. Mother said, okay.
So you went back to Wabash High School then for your senior year? Yeah. Were you spending the summers at Culver? Or
Yeah.
And any place else besides Culver?
No.
Were you traveling at all then? Was your mother taking you on trips?
Well, to some degree, just here and there, business trips she'd sometimes take me.
Did you feel that you had a satisfactory childhood?
Oh, very much so.
Yeah. You enjoyed it? And
yeah, I never had any, I was kind of a loner in the sense, I think without a father, you probably establish some different ways of living.
Oh.
But I didn't. I have remembrances of very happy.
Yeah. And then your mother remarried, and she married Mr. Honeywell in 1943, which would have made you 15 or 16 years old.
I was in junior high. I don't remember how old I was.
Yeah. Was that a shock to you, or?
No, not really. I think she was kind of breaking it gently as the romance blossomed.
Yeah. Did you see a lot of Mr. Honeywell then? Before she was married?
Yeah, not overly much, but frequently.
Yeah.
Frequently. I remember one funny thing. Gosh, you won't think of these things till somebody gets kind of probing around, but I guess when they were courting, or he was courting her or whatever, she told me one time that they'd been out together and she got so mad because they were driving to Rich Valley or by Rich Valley and he was only doing 40 miles an hour on the highway or something.
That wasn't fast enough.
No, he said, just poke along and look at these things and talk about that. And he said, your mother was pretty dynamic. He just barely drove her up the wall.
Well, of course, they got married in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah. A question that your mother and I discussed was that after she married Mr. Honeywell, then you stayed with Grandma Hubbard.
Yeah.
Was that your choice?
Oh, I don't really remember it. It was mutually decided. I had no objection to it. I can't really remember her offering a reason or us really talking about it. So that's just the way it went.
Yeah. Did you and Mr. Honeywell get along, John?
Real well. He was kind of a funny guy. He'd never been around kids, of course.
Yeah.
And I think he really extended himself to try to understand me as a teenager. He was always quite cordial, and unless he was in a grumpy mood, as everybody gets.
Yeah.
But he would extend himself to explain, work hard in your life and all things will come to pass, that type of thing.
Yeah. In other words,
But he was not like a father who encouraged our friends into our homes and all that stuff. That was absolutely foreign to him.
Yeah. He didn't understand it, or he didn't want the interruption, do you think? Or
Well, I think Mother commented on that periodically. Something to the effect, well, he just doesn't understand young people because he's never had children of his own.
Mm-hmm.
But it was more of an explanation than an excuse or anything else, just a matter of fact.
You and your mother's relations then were mother to son, normal relations?
Oh, yeah, super, as a matter of fact. As I look back, well, of course, a teenage, we had our share of teenager versus parent disagreement type thing. But as I look back on our life, after she died, I look back and, I told a number of people, I don't ever remember in my adult years, ever having a crossword between us. We just somehow clicked all the time. Very nice remembrance to have.
Yeah. How did you and Grandma Hubbard get along?
Oh, real well. She was older, and they get set in their ways, and that was like a grandmother bringing up a teenager, and there's certainly a generation gap, if you want to call it that. I can remember that being sort of a problem sometimes.
Was she ambitious for your success, Grandma Hubbard?
Oh, she was the doting type grandmother. Nothing I could do would be wrong, and everything I did well was super great. It was.
Shortly after, of course, you graduated from Wabash High School, and then you go on to college at
Amherst in Massachusetts.
Yeah. How were your college years?
Oh, very good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Did you come home summers?
Yeah, I worked at the newspaper.
In what capacity?
Oh, it's been so long ago, I don't remember, just in a variety of departments. I used to work in spring vacations and sometimes there's Christmas vacations, summers.
Yeah. Were the college years happy years?
Yeah.
When you graduated, then, what did you do?
Well, it was a time of the Korean War. Funny thing happened one time. A bunch of us from Wabash had gone up to Lake Wawasee, and at that point was the Johnson Hotel, and they had a bunch of teenage waitresses up there, college kid waitresses. And we got to know them pretty well. So we were all sitting around drinking beer one Sunday afternoon, and I made one of my famous, I wish I hadn't said this before, comments, and that is, Korea had just broken out, and I looked up with great pomposity and said, well, they'll never draft us. And 6 months later, every one of us were gone.
You were out of college then?
Yeah, we just graduated.
Yeah. And what was your Army career then? What did you do?
I went into the Air Force hoping to fly, but many other people had the same ambition. I had flown before, just on private pilot basis. And,
did you wind up in Korea finally?
No, I lucked out, really. I got no further than George Air Force Base in California and skied on the base ski team and edited the base newspaper and met my wife while I was lifeguard at the swimming pool.
How did you met her as a life, and what was her background?
Well, she was a school teacher on base and lived in California, on the coast.
Yeah, from California?
Yeah. Well, yeah, in her later years.
What did Mother say then when you brought home a girl from the West?
Well, she kind of fell in love with Jane right away. She was a little concerned, if I remember correctly. But when I broke the news, not that, I was thinking about getting married. And I wanted her to come out and meet this gal. Man, she had the normal mother reaction, well, you sure you know what you're doing? And came out, and the two of them just clicked like that.
Well, that's great. Then your Army career is over. What steps did you take then?
Well, I came here and started to work at the Tribune. And worked here for a while, and then Joe decided he'd move to Wabash, and they'd stick me in here. That's the way it was.
Was Mr. Honeywell's influence at all on your business career? Did he ever suggest that possibly you ought to try the corporate Honeywell establishment or anything?
No, because I think I had it kind of in my mind. I wanted the newspaper business. I knew I think I had the assumption if I said something about getting into Honeywell, that there'd be an opportunity made available, at least to demonstrate whether I could climb or so forth. But I just didn't. Well, I was terribly interested in what he was doing. I'm very proud of the accomplishments of Honeywell at the time. It didn't have any attraction or allure for me.
During the years that he was building the center, did you have anything? Your mother was actively interested in the decorations and many of that. Did you get involved at all, or
not to a degree? But I can remember him asking me questions as a teenager. What did I think about certain things? I don't remember too many specifics, but he was talking about location and activities, what the kids really want today, and I was sort of on the scene, and I don't remember what suggestions were accepted or rejected, but I can remember, several.
But he would ask for some input from the younger people as to which way.
Well, at least he did for me. Now, if he asked from other people, I'd have no way of knowing one way or another. I assume he would have, because he was pretty sharp on that.
Did he ever have any suggestions on your newspaper career?
I don't specifically remember. I can remember that. I don't remember any specific things that he told me, but he always preached the private enterprise system and the idea of working your tail off, and that's the way you get things done and are successful. And anything you want to do well. Mm-hmm. That's a general remembrance I have. Yeah. But always a positive impression about business.
When did you go on the board then at Honeywell?
On the foundation?
Yes.
I can't remember.
When you, fairly early in your newspaper career?
Oh, no, it's only been, of course, you lose track of time. I guess maybe 6 years ago, some ballpark.
Yeah. Was it what you thought it was going to be, and having lived with this all your life?
Well, the reason I got on the board is Mother asked me to be a candidate because she felt that my ideas were very much in agreement with hers and my philosophy, and I did it as a favor to her. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I got my own things to do in Peru, and any hours I spend over there, undoubtedly I could be doing something for my own community. However, it's been a good experience. You got some great guys over there on board, and of course the community I know well.
Yeah. Do you think that we were talking about the foundation? Do you think that the character of the foundation is what Mr. Honeywell envisioned it would be?
Yeah, I do. I think they're executing right along the lines that he was very much in favor of.
Yeah, that's what Wilbur Ford, I think, has the clearest thinking on the foundation, and having known Mr. Honeywell for
he
years.
Would be top person.
He explained that about the same way that you did. How about your newspaper career then? What has happened since you've been here, and what innovations and so forth have you made? Obviously, a new building is...
I don't know. We've expanded here and at all our plants, really, and try to keep as up-to-date a newspaper as we could and lead the pack, so to speak. And,
has it been successful?
Yes, very.
Have you been satisfied?
Well, you're never satisfied.
Yeah.
Basically satisfied, sure. But always, you think, well, what else can we do?
Yeah. Do you feel that being a part of the family, that you're in more competition, you have to do better than, say, the administrator of one of the other papers that is not in the family?
No.
You don't have that feeling at all? Yeah.
No, it's just working with a team and a team effort, trying to better the whole operation by doing it individually.
Yeah.
No, it's just a fun job.
Yeah. Well, good. How did you get along with the rest of the family, and Joe and the rest of the brothers? And
well, Joe,
maybe asking
well,
some personal questions.
That's all right.
Yeah.
No problem. Well, Joe and I were quite close in the sense that there was a 15-year spread, you got to realize, and he and I were not contemporaries. Don, I didn't know too well because he was out of the community, and the rest of they're half brothers and half sisters, I guess, so there wasn't a close proximity, number one. And number two, when we did see each other, we were strangers, and that was it. But a cordial relationship. Joe and I were quite close.
And still are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to ask you, for the record, some of what you gathered from Mr. Honeywell as philosophies and outlook as to life and business and the family and so forth.
Well, of course, the overriding impression I had was he was a hell of a perfectionist. And I don't know whether I read it in one of Mother's tapes, or I do know that she said it frequently. But he'd tear out a wall if he didn't think the wall was put in there the right location. He'd move it over 6 inches. And he really was that way. He gave that impression to me through my association with him. Boy, you better do it right, period.
Did you ever see Mr. Honeywell in a humorous situation?
Oh, yeah, he had a great sense of humor. In fact, most of the time he was in a humorous situation. In a cordial and affable mood.
Uh-huh.
It was only rare that he'd be in a grumpy mood, but he was like you and me, everybody. Have your days.
There seems to be some thinking that Mr. Honeywell maybe was too successful for his own good, that he lost many of his friends and the common man as he went along. Did he ever leave you with that impression?
Well, I don't know that I ever directly had that impression. He was kind of aloof, and he was not an outgoing, easy to know right off the bat type of person. Uh-huh. Now, once you got to know him, then he's a great guy, much fun, great humor. I wish I could remember. There were 2 or 3 funny incidents, and I can't recall, but really, I know, he'd get in a car and he'd knock his hat off, and God damn, just pop right out, and Mother would say, "Mark Honeywell," and, but he wasn't a big joke teller, but he just had a very dry wit and responded to dry wit. Uh-huh. But you had to know him, and he had to know you before he would get close. So I can understand why he may not have been in touch with the people in general.
Do you think that he ever thought he'd be as successful as he was?
I don't think he ever implied this one way or another to me. I can remember asking him about his history, how he got where he was from where he started, and he would tell me these things, but I don't have any remembrance really of what he was thinking.
Did you ever visit them in Florida when they had?
Oh yeah, frequently.
What was their lifestyle like there?
Oh, super.
Was it?
Yeah. One thing that struck me is, of course, I went down there in some college vacations, spring vacations, I guess it was, and boy, they just gave me the red carpet treatment. Mm-hmm. Rent a car for me, and that was the biggest thrill of my life. Mm-hmm. Well, I didn't even expect anything. And saw that I got to their clubs and met young people down there, and it was just a wow experience. So one of the things that struck me is we took our kids to Florida a year. We were flying through or something. I've forgotten just what it was, but anyway, we had some time, so we drove out and we looked across Indian Creek at the old Honeywell house. And really, it was a demoralizing experience because after his death, the mother had no interest in that house. I think they sold it to this guy Jimenez from Venezuela, and he got in all kinds of political problems. I never did really know the end of that story, but apparently the Honeywell house and the house north of it has been abandoned. And when you think of the great luxury and the beauty and the perfection of this house down there, and then you see it in shambles sitting there in the middle of a pretty nice place, boy, it really twists the heart a little bit because you remember all the good things and the big boat coming up there. Wow.
Did you ever go to Europe with him?
No.
Never went to Europe with him. Speaking of your mother, I think that she thoroughly enjoyed her life right up to the end, I would say, and I think you would have to agree with that.
Oh, yes. She had absolutely no fear of dying. She'd done everything she wanted to do, so to speak. She had still wanted to get to communist China and the Antarctica. Mm-hmm. And we said, okay, you can go if you feel okay. But she was skidding, and we knew it.
Yeah. Isn't there a funny little story about the safe deposit box? Or
Oh, well, you mean the one-upsmanship?
Yeah. Why don't you
That's
repeat that and we'll have it preserved here.
all right. Well, Mother and I always played practical jokes on each other all our lives, and right after her death, the day after, the morning after it, I was over in Nixon Newspaper's headquarters, and we were trying to figure out what step you take next, and boy, it was just chaos. Somebody came up to me with a shoebox size package, medium heavy in weight, and said, your mother wanted you to have this immediately after her death. So I was real busy, and I said, well, hey, stick it in the car trunk. I'll get to it later, if you will. So they did. And I completely forgot about it. So the next morning I'm at home, and I'm trying to sort through the pieces, put all the shattered things back together in my mind. I thought, my Lord, I forgot about that package. Now, what would she want me to have after her death? It was so super that she had to get it to me. Right? She's always been very generous and all that stuff. Just can't understand that. Well, I opened this dumb thing up, and here was a bust of Eleanor Roosevelt, which we had given her 4 or 5 Christmases ago with great mirth and merriment, because rightly or wrongly, she didn't like Eleanor Roosevelt very darn much. At the time we gave it to her with some written dissertation, and she laughed till the tears just streamed down her eyes. Well, that was the end of that. Well, here, with this bust, is a note saying, John and Jane, just wanted you to have the last laugh because I've been laughing about this, or I've had 1,000 laughs thinking of this very moment. Love, Mother.
Yeah.
And my first reaction was, damn it, she got me.
Yeah.
Because,
One more shot, huh?
Yeah, one more shot. She knew I was going to follow her after death. She went up, and I'm probably going down. But
I think that's
symbolic.
good. Yeah, I think that's great. I think that's great that she'd have that sense of humor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah, a couple of people apparently knew about it. But she'd corked this all up.
Yeah.
But
had she any specific desires when she died? She told me that she wanted absolutely no memorials, monuments, or markers to her name.
Yeah, well, she said in some document or letter or notation, if you two, meaning Joe and me, ever set up any memorial to me, I'm going to come back and haunt you.
Yeah, she told me the same thing. Yeah, she told me the same thing on the tape. Do you think that the community, I've asked many others this also, do you think that the community has really recognized Mark Honeywell and your mother for their contribution to the community? In other words, anything that they have done, they more or less had to generate it themselves. Why didn't the community put a school? Why didn't they name a school or name a street or something of that nature? I know she wanted no markers or memorials, but
I think the community has a great appreciation.
Yes, appreciation, yes, I agree.
But even when he was building the building, there were people who resented this. They didn't want a building. They didn't like Mark Honeywell because he was a big, powerful industrialist who had all kinds of money to burn. He was building a building. Yeah. And there was resentment. Mm-hmm. And I think even in my adult years, I have heard after his death, well, so what? But by the same token, I think the general impression that I've felt is that, yeah, people who think, say, yeah, boy, he made a fine contribution. Now, in my opinion, it's not necessary to create a marker. I'm kind of her philosophy. So what? I'm doing. They were doing what they wanted to do. They wanted to give to that community, and neither one of them were the type who said, "Gee, I hope somebody puts a marker up for me or names something after me." It was just a desire to do good with their great good fortune, which was always very remarkable.
Good. I've thought that something should have been from the heart of the community, as I say, a school or something like that. I would have thought would have been appropriate to honor them. There's something that they would not have contributed to directly, and I thought would have been great. I know that your mother certainly wouldn't want any type of recognition like that. How did they live on North Wabash Street? What was their lifestyle there? In the older house, the English half timber.
Well, it was subdued. They had fun parties of close Wabash people, but there was never the gala, particularly. They were just fun lots of great laugh parties.
Yeah.
Felt like you have in your own house, really.
And how did Mother live in the new house, and how was her lifestyle?
Oh, she loved that. That was just, she wanted to do that perfectly and did my book.
Mm-hmm.
I had a funny story about that one time. She was doing this house, and Jane and I were building ours over here in Peru. And we were done first, and she walked in, looked it over, and said, "Well, if I'd been doing it, I don't believe I'd have done it quite this way."
She would not have done it.
Not quite this way, right? Ours was a modern contemporary.
Yeah.
And,
It didn't change your mind, though.
huh?
Didn't change your mind.
Well, it just wasn't her type of house. Yeah, she wouldn't have done it. So at any rate, shortly after that, she finished hers and invited us over a cocktail. And I walked in. I said, "Well, if I'd been doing it, I don't believe I'd done it quite this way."
Yeah. Yeah. She lived very graciously, and as you say, she loved it out there. And I talked to Roy and Agnes, right afterwards, and told me some of the lifestyle and the interesting things that she did, which would be interesting for you to read, incidentally.
One interesting thing about her that probably wouldn't be known except through gathering some of this material, she always had a tremendous inferiority complex about not having graduated from college. And it was a real complex. Now, she would admit this. But probably the greatest thrill that I know of that she ever told me she got in her life was getting the honorary degree from Tri-State. And of course, later she got one, I think, from IU. Mm-hmm. I think that probably had lesser thrill and impact, but for sure. And the thing that always dumbfounded me is here, this woman was real. She was brilliant in my mind, and I worked with her as a business associate. And in later years, right up to the end, she was contributing substantially to our newspaper business and ideas and thoughts, and she raise hell about operating statements and have comments to make that would get action later because they were good comments and worth checking out and doing something about. Well, here's this person with all this talent and all these accomplishments in so many different fields, sitting there still with a complex. I didn't graduate from college, but that's the way people are.
I presume, I would assume then that she would be extremely proud that you finished school.
Well, she was such a joker, really, that we clowned about it more and were serious about my having graduated from college. And her comments was, I didn't ever thought she'd make it. But allied with this complex was the fact that she continued to study French in France so long. Mm-hmm. She wasn't doing diddly-boo with that French. She couldn't retain it. Yeah. She kept plugging at it. Yeah. And that was part of the manifestation of all this. Yeah.
That's amazing, though, that she would have this complex for...
Don't you send a lightning bolt down.
Yeah. We, in our conversation, it was rather evident that her mother was extremely ambitious for this great talent that she had in music.
Yeah, grandmother was a pusher.
Yeah, that she wasn't going to settle for a piano teacher in Terre Haute or anything else. That she was extremely ambitious for her to get the best training and teachers that were available. And this came through the interview very clearly.
Marvelous impact she had, but there were painful experiences getting, from what her mother had done to push her a little bit. Mm-hmm. And yet the grandmother, she was left in the lurch and bailed out with guts and tears. Yeah. And she was remarkable in her own right.
Yeah. Well, that's, it sort of amazed me when you said that Grandma was a doting person and anything that you did was all right after the career that she had with establishing her own daughter. That sort of surprised me, really. I felt that she would be extremely ambitious for you also and wouldn't have been happy until you were...
No, she didn't. For evidence that...
Yeah. Well, good, and I think that, as I say, I had an extremely gracious reception from your mother that day, and good interview, and had a lot of fun. And I'm only sorry that I didn't get to meet Grandma Hubbard when she was living, because she must have been quite a person also.
Well, she wasn't nearly as dynamic. She was very quiet and very shy, and seemed cool and aloof to many people. Mm-hmm. But the other side that people didn't see would be, for example, when we were in college, in the summertime, we'd get together, for example, at my house periodically and drink beer and play poker, a bunch of guys. Mm-hmm. And grandmother would come in from a bridge game and sit up till 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning kibitzing with all these kids. And she just loved them, and they loved her.
Yeah.
But to other adults, she could seem very cold and just two personalities completely.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that is unusual.
Yeah, it is. But she was shy.
Did you ever regret not having any brothers or sisters, or you didn't mind growing up by yourself?
I didn't know the difference, really. So it didn't make a whole lot of difference.
Well, I can't think of anything else, John, that I'll probably think of 8,000 questions after I leave here, and I want to thank you for taking your time today. And
It's been very interesting.
yeah, anything else you want to add? As I say, we can add it to the transcript.
Yeah, if I think of something.
Yeah, we'll just add it to the transcript, and I'm sure that there's many other things. This is the end of the tape. Go ahead.
Well, something I just happened to think about in thinking of Mother is that we had such a unique relationship, as I kind of piece it together, that and she was so dynamic that I never really felt any sense of loss after she died, because she just seemed to live on. Mm-hmm. The only time I really get bumped now is when I get back from some fun event or big deal with the kids or trip or something. It always used to be a lot of fun to share with her what we had done, or show movies or whatever, because she was so vitally enthused about what they were doing. Mm-hmm. Or anything one of the kids would accomplish. One of the fun things that happened, and I'm so glad it did happen before she died. Our oldest boy, Chris, who was a senior in high school this year, is 200 and some odd pounds and as tall as I am. Pretty good football player, all conference and that type of thing. So Mother had never seen him play football. And we got thinking, gee, we better get her because he'd be going off in the boondocks next year. So we planned to take her out, and then after the football game was over, it looked like an easy game. We were going to get Chris coming off the field all sweaty and dirty and big, and she wasn't very big, and get them side by side and make a shot. So it turned out that we were losing, and 2 minutes to go. There's no way we were going to win that ball game. So I said, well, Mom, let's just forget the picture because Chris is just going to be so demoralized. What I want to do is go down to the field and greet him on the way off and just tell him how damn sorry I am that things turned out this way. Well, as I was walking down the stands, I could hear cheer after cheer after cheer, and what was happening was that our guys were marching right down the goal line, and I get down there, and geez, we score with about 2 seconds to go, and we win the ball game. Well, of course, Chris comes off, and I missed the fact that Mother has also come down, so we missed the picture. But the fun thing was that she got to sit up and hear when Chris would come home, and the whole family would sit around, well, what happened then, and what was your reaction, and who'd you hit? And she got this total play-by-play, and I don't know whether one of Chris's friends was there or not, but she was just so enthused having seen this tremendously exciting finish. We couldn't have asked for a better deal, but we never got that picture.
Yeah. Well, what was the relationship between your mother and your children?
Oh, fabulous. They loved her and she loved them. Yeah. And she was always on their tail on discipline, but they respected her and admired her, and they sensed how great she really was, even when she was alive. They had a terrific relationship, an enthusiastic relationship.
Roy and Agnes was commenting to me on the interview that I had done with them that when the children were smaller and they would come to the house, that your mother would have them sit down and go through some formal eating procedure, even though their little minds were capable of it, but she just believed in good manners and to be gracious and everything else, and thought that it wasn't too early for any of them to start learning. Yeah. And of course the kids probably would rather eat off a snack tray or something like that in front of television.
Yeah. Oh, there are a lot of fun memories we have. One thing, talking about these practical jokes, one of the funniest we pulled on her came in recent years. Bernice Kelly, her secretary for many, many years, and just kind of one of the family. Never broke a confidence to my knowledge except once. And it was 3 or 4 years ago. And she said, your mother told me the other day, this was not too far from Christmas, she said, I just wish my family would give me $100 so I could take a day with Elizabeth Arden. And a face type treatment thing, which I didn't know about at the time. So Bernice and I got laughing about it. So we got Joe and Marion and Roy and Agnes and Bernice and Jane and I, and we all kicked in $100 for this day with Elizabeth Hart. And then Jane went through some National Geographics and found a beautiful picture of an ape, a gorilla. It was the homeliest, ugliest gorilla you ever saw in your life. So we framed this. I think it had a baby with it, too. And then Joe went to the bank and got $100 worth of pennies, 10,000 pennies. So they brought this to her and gave it to her on Christmas. Now we were out skiing in Colorado, first time that Mother had not been with us at Christmas time, and ever since the kids were born. But Bernice said, well, then we had this dissertation printed out, typed up, that we had seen her recent full-color picture in the Wabash plane deal. And, obviously there was a problem, and we felt as a family she ought to do something about it, and therefore here was $100. And then we talked about the tax ramifications of the trip, and how she would deal with the George Olive Company as accountants to take care of this. Well, Bernice Kelly said that she had never seen Mother laugh so hard in her life. And of course, Joe getting those 10,000 pennies, that just capped the whole thing off. But that's the type of humor that was going back and forth.
Well, good.
Mickey Mouse.
Good. And that's what she enjoyed.
Oh, yeah, ate it up. Ate it up.
Did she ever tell you much about your father?
Well, yeah. Yeah, no.
Of course, you were young, what, 6 when he died?
Yeah. Just that he was real bullheaded and not a businessman. He was a good editorial man for his day, but the business went to pot while he was doing all the editorial work, and that was one of our problems. High moral convictions and the tenacity to do a job.
He was a different school than today.
Right.
You couldn't do that today.
No, you couldn't.
They'd run you out and lynch you at the edge of town or something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. You ought to read that, what she says about the newspaper business when she was in...
Well, yeah, I did. I know.
Yeah. And it was extremely interesting where he got things going. Well, again, we're going to shut it off. John, we've got it. Thank you.
Okay.